Gentlemen, thank you. At the airport, Heathrow Airport yesterday, I went to buy a newspaper. That's how old-fashioned I am. And it was a shop called W.H. Smith, which those of you who have been to London, to England, will know. But there were no staff there, or one person. So I had to take the newspaper to the machine and scan the barcode and beep, price came up. I put my £5 note in. The machine sort of grabbed it as I put it in, which I thought was a bit aggressive, unnecessary at that time of the morning. It was 7 in the morning, quite difficult. The change, £3 change, came out, and then a voice emerged from the machine, a kind of computerized voice, and it said, "Thank you for shopping at W.H. Smith." And I thought, that isn't shopping. That's not what I call shopping. Shopping is human. It's talking to people. It's looking at things. It's transactions. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. It was early in the morning. I was very cross about it. Jack, am I hopelessly old-fashioned? Am I failing to recognize the emerging reality of 2016 and the future? Is that our future? Machines forget the human? What do you think?
No, you're not hopelessly old-fashioned. I think we all want that kind of human element in a lot of what we do. I mean, I would counter that you buying your newspaper and being grumpy in the morning. I mean, maybe you wouldn't have wanted to talk to a person.
Or they wouldn't have wanted to talk to me.
I mean, exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it depends a lot on what the experience is you're trying to create. I mean, this is a very specific example of retail. And really, you were doing it in an airport. It's transit. It's almost designed to be quick. You get it, you sit down, you don't upset anyone in your grumpy state, and you get it out of the way. Whereas if you were, I don't know, shopping at a high-end fashion outlet, the last thing they are going to have is a self-service thing.
Yes, good point. John, is there any hope for me, or I've got to wake up to the new world?
Well, I think the new world might be better for all concerned in a number of ways. I used to work retail, and it's a long, tedious job. And I think a world in which the robots come and replace all the long, tedious jobs, and let us focus on things that we're interested in, be it high-end fashion or writing or whatever other arts, is actually one we should be welcoming and celebrating to a great extent.
Pascal.
So the point about retail being a bad job is a good one, but the problem is that many bad jobs are usually the first ladder to a better job. So if you think of flipping burgers at McDonald's, right? Like right now, McDonald's is literally thinking about replacing everybody with robots, especially with the increase of the minimum wage in the U.S. You have many people who work a job at McDonald's and they hate it, but you have many people, they start out flipping burgers and then they become, manager, and then they become marketing guy. And it's a famous thing, like at McDonald's, you have plenty of senior managers who started out flipping burgers.
True. And
maybe they had a family background or a social background where they couldn't have done that otherwise. And so these low-level entry jobs, the point that we're replacing bad jobs with better jobs is actually true in a way, but there's also a sense in which we also need the bad jobs because they're a way for people to get to a better job. So that would be the sort of problem with the whole retail bad job thing, replacing people with robots. That's one thing that I don't think people focus enough on.
The kind of entry level and almost the supply chain of labor, if I can put it crudely. It's a process.
Right, exactly.
And it's absolutely true about McDonald's. There's a chain come from the States now in the UK called Five Guys.
Right.
Where people, as it were, cook to order. So they have gone up one step on that process. And that's absolutely a human job for the foreseeable future. But the McDonald's maybe not. You can already order your McDonald's from a machine in some stores.
Yeah.
So
And it's a better experience too.
Meneer
As a
Professor.
consumer, I like it. As a writer, it's different.
Interesting. Help me. Have I got to wake up to the real world?
Yes. You're bloody old-fashioned.
You always get a straight answer from the Netherlands. It's very good.
Yeah, but that's also why the
All right,
Dutch and
thank you, good
and
night.
the English people like each other. Because have you ever heard of Facebook?
I have heard of Facebook. Yes.
Think about it. Let's say that it is technology meant only to connect people. So all, let's say, this technology is to facilitate interhuman relations. And I agree with you that, let's say, it's all about interrelationships. Yes. Because that's why we marry, that's why we have sex, that's why we love, let's say, we make businesses, etc. Think about if you don't have contact with your consumers, you don't sell anything. It is all the technology in the end is about making it more easy, more practical, more comfortable. I have conversations with my daughters now almost every minute. I doubt whether I like it, but let's say they can beat me, and let's say they disturb me. Okay, but that is another way of handling. The technology is to excel further, a further level, a higher level. It's a leap step into interhuman communication.
But is there a paradox here, because we talk about connection, which you're talking about, and yet look, lots of real live people have got out of bed this morning.
If you're not connected, you can't communicate. So interconnection is, let's say, the first step in communication.
Yes, but we also need human real-time stuff, yeah? We need flesh time, yeah.
But maybe that machine in that shop would have allowed you to have the human connection with the person that was working there. You know, if you needed help with something, or if you just wanted to chat, that person was free to do that because they didn't have to serve everyone else that was coming into the shop. So it might actually facilitate the face-to-face because you've removed their, banal work that they've got to do.
Now, tell us more about this Doppel, because that's the future. I realise I've got to wake up to the future. What is that? What does it, when it's working properly, what's it doing for you?
So basically what it does is it interacts with us in a way that a lot of technology currently doesn't, which is on a very sort of human and emotional level, but also fundamentally it's past the technology. So what it does is it can make the wearer feel more alert and focused, or more calm and relaxed. And the way it does that is in a very similar way to the way that music affects how we feel. So we have an innate response to rhythm. An upbeat song will get you going, and a downbeat song will chill you out. And that's because of the beat of the music. And what we've been able to do is create the same effect silently with a beat that you feel. And this is very exciting because it means that we've actually made a piece of technology that fundamentally interacts in a way that we've been playing with our emotions since before. I mean, we've had music from before we can remember, before prehistory. And it's an exciting step for us because it means that we can actually use something that's very innate. We're sort of enabling our own innate responses rather than saying, hey, look at this piece of data and change your behavior. We can actually say, hey, do you want to feel calmer? You can do that. You can do it at any time that you like.
It gives you a pulse, or it sends you, not an electric shock.
No. So you feel it, you feel it, and it feels like a heartbeat.
Okay. We all know that thing about when you're walking on the pavement and someone maybe walks past you a bit quicker and you start catching up with them.
Yeah.
You're talking about that sort of thing, the rhythmic sense of life.
Yeah, so it's not just music that we respond to. We respond to other people. There's some fascinating research where if you get lovers together in a room and they don't touch, they just look at each other, their heart rates will synchronize.
Oh.
So sweet.
It's lovely. Isn't that nice?
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's all the same, a similar thing happens with your pet dog. So.
Well, as you know, the British are happier showing emotions to dogs than to each other.
Maybe the study was done in the UK,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
So, but hang on, are Amazon going to attach one of those to all their warehouse people and turn it up on full so they're all sprinting around the floor all the time?
Well, no, not ours at least. They already can do that. So they do that with music. So again,
Yeah.
if we go back to the retail environment,
Yeah.
and they do this in factories, you walk into a shop and it's got a fast song playing and it's a bit too hot, and you just make your purchase and you get out.
And in the wine section, classical music.
Absolutely.
So you
want
buy more expensive wine.
and you stay there for longer.
And
Yeah.
they release scents so that you smell the appropriate things.
Yes.
That will induce you to
Yeah.
buy things.
But we're giving that sort of effect. We're giving the power to the individual.
So you
wearing.
set it to do
The-
what you want it to do.
Yeah, the individual
From
the,
your
the
smartphone
user.
or your.
Yeah.
Who's going to buy a Doppel? Who's going to?
I'm going to buy it
Yes.
because I liked it. The last sentence.
Yes.
Because nowadays, let's say, when you go into McDonald's, let's say, there are certain, let's say, vapors, let's say, they're putting into the rooms, and that makes you more hungry, and you eat more.
Yeah.
And with the music, and let's say that you tend to stay 10 seconds longer, and let's say 10% in that 10 seconds, let's say, buy another burger. Okay, so McDonald's is regulating your life, and that is not my way of living. I want to decide myself. And if you give me, let's say, an alternative, okay, I can resist, let's say, what is McDonald's try to. McDonald's wants to synchronize me. No. I want to synchronize McDonald's. Okay, yeah, is that correct?
Yeah.
I can make myself more resistant against, let's say, eating burgers in McDonald's because I'm.
Maybe. I mean, that's the first time anyone's brought up that user case to us. but maybe, yeah, you could use it for that.
They used to say that the seats were
Always be
deliberately
closing.
uncomfortable in McDonald's so that you just didn't even want to stay there very long. But,
Yeah.
they've changed their model a bit.
Everything, let's say, there is nothing, let's say, that it's all perfection against or for, let's say, creating market. Yeah. And I like, let's say, that we are becoming more ourselves. And here comes my repeat again. Let's say this technology that enables you to make your esteem better. Let's say that you are able to be an individual and to connect with other people. It's a prime example.
I do think
Jon.
we're interacting with machines on a more emotional level than we used to.
Problem with John's mic, I think. Yeah, I'll just shout it out.
I do think we're interacting with machines on a more emotional level these days. A couple of days ago, Google's Magenta project released a piece of music written by one of their machine learning algorithms. And it's not great. It's actually not even good. It sounds like the soundtrack to a terrible corporate training video. But you can easily imagine it getting better and better. And their AI pattern recognition system is seeing how people react to the music that they produce and editing them as time goes by to induce stronger and stronger emotions in their audience, without necessarily understanding what it's doing, but playing with our emotions and tugging at our heartstrings one way or another.
But should we be worried about that?
Possibly.
Yeah. I'm sorry to be the kind of grouch in the room, but
I mean, again, I can see McDonald's. This is the particular rhythm in music that causes people to purchase more hamburgers. We will play it, the Imperial March at high speed.
We all hate McDonald's, don't we?
No, I said good things about McDonald's. I
Yes.
love McDonald's.
In fact, unexpectedly, McDonald's has done very well in France, hasn't it?
McDonald's has done extremely well in France for a while. I haven't checked the figures lately, but for a while it was its most profitable country. Yeah, McDo.
But it was not the Malbouffe or whatever they called it.
Yeah, well, McDonald's in France is, I'm told, slightly better than elsewhere. But I like. First of all, the food is not that bad. Let's be honest. And second of all, it's
Other fast food restaurants are available, I should say.
right.
Not being paid to say this.
And for 50 years, it was where you got the, you could. It's for a certain price. It's either the least bad food for a certain price level. It's sort of sets
But it's
a floor
iconic.
for
That's the other
quality.
thing. The reason I'm labouring this point is it's an iconic business. So
Right.
we talk about Muck Job, Muck World.
Right.
If we would kind of look to them for a model of how things might
Right.
be emerging, so
Right.
it's
Right.
not specifically.
Right.
And in this city, there's much better food available
Yeah,
in other places.
I've already noticed.
Yeah. Who wanted to come in? I was getting some alert looks. Jack.
Well, I was going to sort of not talk about McDonald's,
No,
actually.
thanks. That's
Good.
And was kind of going to ask more about the music angle, because sort of the bigger question around that is the machine actually being creative? I think that's probably one of the questions that people are expecting us to discuss.
Yeah.
And I would argue at the moment that it's not. It must be very rule-based. And the question would be, what is creativity? Obviously, there's a set of rules around music, but then is it knowing when to break the rules? Is it knowing how to judge the outcome?
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting question. There's, AIs are very good at doing variations on things. There are art projects out there where an AI takes a drawing and reassembles it in the style of whatever old master that you like. And so I can envision someone saying, this is my theme, give me 1,000 variations on this theme, and I'll pick the ones that I like the most. But where's the creativity there? Because the human curator, there's some creativity there, but also the machine has generated the actual thing that you have selected. So it's kind of a joint collaborative process. I think it's possible for the creativity to be shared to an extent.
Yes, speaking as an old journalist, I was not overwhelmed by the caption of the photo or the AI, which said, some people shopping at a market. I mean, a trainee journalist would be told to try again. Right? I mean, that's not adding anything. That's not really very creative. I can see it's intelligent, and it's perhaps a huge leap on where we were, but it's not human valuable. Rudi?
I'm getting, almost bored, because let's say you almost all like, let's say, this is new technology, it's not creative, etc., etc. Have you ever tried to make, let's say, a proper photograph, let's say, in the old days where you had, let's say, all these liquids, etc., etc.? It was so damn difficult that you couldn't make up, let's say, a single photograph. And now you have, let's say, all these technologies.
But that was the fun.
What?
That was the fun. The fact that it was
and
hard.
why can't you have fun with electronics and let's say even have better results? Come on,
of course,
boys.
No,
come on.
Of course you can.
All old-fashioned.
Good challenge.
It is about these technology. Make use of it. Make use of time and make use of technology.
So can I say the most senior person on the panel is showing the most youthful enthusiasm for modernity.
Well, we're not
arguing. Because you already have your retirement funds.
I'm saved. Yes, okay.
It's a very good challenge. It's a very good challenge. Thank you.
Now you have a point. Yeah. It is all about trust. If you don't have trust, if you don't have trust in the future, if you mistrust technology, then you end up, let's say, in depression.
Well, I think technology is the wrong enemy here. I mean, if we're concerned about robots coming and taking all our jobs, we should be celebrating that. The jobs they're taking are not very good. They're manual labor, they're repetitive. We should be dancing in the streets at the thought of robots, releasing humans to do the things that we like. Unfortunately, our socioeconomic system is not really well set up for this. And I think that is the fundamental issue that we face with quote-unquote robots stealing jobs.
So in the 1960s, women were not having jobs because, let's say, jobs was a male thing, and feminists went on the streets because they wanted to have a proper job also. And the argument was, we don't have jobs enough. And now it's the same. Let's say it's an echo. And now we are talking about, let's say, we don't like robots like girls in the past. We don't want them to steal our jobs. Okay.
Robots are the women of the 21st century.
No, but there's actually an important point here. We're all talking about technology as if it's a person that's going to do something, and as if it's a single thing. Oh, technology is going to happen, and trust the future because it's happening anyway, and you just have to live with it. But actually, technology is just one thing. It's people like us who decide what the next technology is going to be and what we do with it. And it's not just one thing. Like, AI is not a person who's going to do things. AI is a set of computer software that's designed by human beings who make choices about what to do and what not to do, and what to try to do and what not to try to do.
So the really creative thing we've got to do is to reimagine our lives, rather in the way that Rudi was talking about, a much longer life expectation, a completely different economic model as well, because some things are not going to pay as well. So when you talk about investing in your life, you're not really talking money, are you? You're talking about time, emotion, experience, energy.
No, it's about vitality, and vitality is not, it's not a body thing, it's a brain thing, it's not even a brain. You need a body and a brain, yes, I agree with that. Without body and brain, you're nowhere, okay? But it's about a mindset. And here, let's say, you see, let's say, with me fighting with these young blokes, that, let's say, you have to exploit life. It is about vitality. It is about making something out of your life. And let me be glad that we have now technologies to make it easier, better to explore, let's say, worlds that, let's say, were, almost unreachable in the past.
We should take this clip and play it to 50-year-old car factory workers who just got laid off. They're going to love it. They're going to say, oh, I'm going to make something of my life. Yes, I see it now. The future is mine. I should trust technology. I should
you are
trust the
cynical?
future.
Let me beat him.
Jack,
If you go to retired people, 70 years
I
of
have
age,
a brain.
70-year-olds,
See, like
one-third, they want to go back in work again. And why is that? It's not because of the money. Because they want human contacts. Because, let's say, work, you think it's only, say, negative, but it gives you a peer group, something to fight for. Even, let's say, to fight for more money. But it's part of your life. It's about, let's say, what you were missing when you were buying, let's say, your newspaper. Work is about creating something together.
Jack,
Sure.
are you trying to come in? Yeah.
Oh, well, what I was actually going to say is this, we talk about sort of, yes, we can push technology in a direction that we want it to go, but it's never quite that simple because it then changes the world and then we have to deal with it. It can even change us. Yeah. So there's the Google effect.
That's why it's complicated. But
yeah, so we now remember things in a different way than we used to, because now I have most of human knowledge available to me in my pocket and I can find it quite easily.
Yes.
I can't remember all of that stuff.
No.
So what I remember is where to find it. And that's now changing how people think. So that's it wasn't a planned effect. It was completely unplanned effect.
But that's a really good example because that effect is real. But you don't have to follow the effect. Like I agree, it's the same effect on me. When I was 10, when I was 15, before Google, I'm already old. I could remember things by heart very easily, and now I can't. But you can decide to start to jog your memory. You can decide to start to learn poetry. For example, I'm not saying people should do that. I'm just saying you don't have to be passive to say, oh, Google is changing everything, so I can't do anything about it. You can have discernment and say, okay, what is Google is changing, and what do I do about it? Without saying technology is this like black or white thing that's happening to us. And it's either all woo or all bad. There's no such thing as technology.
Further to your point about the laid-off factory workers, though, there are 4 million truck drivers in the U.S. I assume a couple million more in Europe, at least. And they are all, truck driving is not a great job. It's long hours. It's extremely tedious. It's hard on your family life. Yes. But on the other hand, you're going to have, in the not too distant future, Elon Musk was predicting fully autonomous cars 2 years from now yesterday at CodeCon. Yeah. You're going to have 6 million people plus in the US and Europe suddenly questioning whether they have any job to do at all. And we don't really have a system or a safety net set up for that kind of wrenching sudden change.
That's
I
right.
agree that we need struggle, and to find meaning, but the struggle to get by after you've been laid off is not the best of those.
Victoria said earlier, we want the transition to be smooth,
you
but
should
as you
just
describe
play them
it,
his clip. They're going to be fine.
but as you describe it, it's clearly not going to be very smooth. And of course, capitalism tends to be pretty bumpy. It's disruptive. It's quite violent. And the markets and businesses move one way fast and then another way fast. And people doing the low-skill jobs are finding out it's quite violent, disruptive.
Well, it's the speed at which things progress, because then policy can't keep up, and we as people can't all decide what's the right thing to do, and it's happened before we know it, and people get left behind, and that's one of the risks that's coming. And then if you say sort of work is one of the ways of having a purpose, if that was somebody's purpose, they'd now need to find a new one, and that's going to be challenging. I mean, I think it's great to be sort of very positive. I think we should be very positive. I think this is actually a good thing. In Australia, they can't pay people enough to do the job. I mean, the land trains, they pay people $100,000 a year, and people still won't do it. They can't do the job. So,
but this is also societal progress. I now live in a country, let's say in Denmark, where they have, at the top of it, they don't think, let's say, that money is important. Money is only necessary for, making your life going. And they also have, let's say, 36 hours working. Yeah. They don't expect me to work longer than 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 3 o'clock in the Friday afternoon, everybody is gone. And people argue, Yeah, but this is unsustainable from an economic model. But let's say Denmark, despite, let's say, the 36 hours week, and despite, let's say, you have 1 year off when you have a child, as both, and let's say as two parents, you're not supposed, let's say, as the girl only takes, let's say, the 1 year. They're number 10 on the most competitive economies. So it is about reorganizing. If you have new technologies, and you just let it go, yes, then you're stupid. But we agreed already, let's say, the technologies are there to make it better for us, that we have more possibilities. And it is about rearranging labor force. So instead of, let's say, only few blokes, let's say, running for, let's say, 80 or 90 hours a week, it is also about the redistribution of labor. So there is this social component. You have to be ahead of the technologies. Make use of it to make it better for yourself and the society.
And again, this marriage of human and technology. Sam Walton at Walmart famously used to take donuts to the truck drivers because he found out what was selling, what wasn't, and before smart supply chain technology, that was the only way of knowing. Now we've got clever systems to tell us what stock keeping units are shifting or which not. And yet, if it's all drones, you will also lose those human insights, the real world perceptions. Rudi.
Let me give you one example. If you think it is really, let's say, there should be added value, because some other people, older people, let's say not us and not you, but some other people are quite resistant to take up, let's say, new things, unless there is a clear benefit. Let me tell you that the take-up of iPads, broadband, etc., is, let's say, the fastest in, let's say, the 60 plus, 70 plus, 80 plus. Yeah. And let's say, in parts of Europe, let's say, the connection, you having broadband, you being active every day on broadband, let's say, that is in the 70, 80 plus %, let's say, in 70, 80-year-olds. If there is not a clear advantage, they would never have done it, because they are so conservative. So there is clear added value.
Is it not? Oh. Is it not that they're the fastest take-up group because the other groups have been saturated there?
Yeah, but I gave you also the absolute figures. Are you not astounded, let's say, that in the Netherlands broadband use, let's say, in the 70, 80 plus is already 80% plus?
No, it makes complete sense. I mean, I know senior people around me, for example, they use their iPad because they can magnify the font. They can read. Oh. They can read with the.
So it's making life easy.
Yes.
I'm not anti-technology. I'm saying we need to be discerning about what specific technologies we want to do what and what the consequences are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big champion of technology. I welcome most of these changes, but there are also going to be side effects that are going to hurt a lot of people, and I think we need to be aware of those before they happen and do what we can to mitigate them.
Self-driving cars are great, and self-driving trucks are great, and I'm for them, but, again, we millions of people are going to lose their jobs, and we can't just give them a clip of 30 seconds of a guy with a bow tie telling them to embrace the future.
And also,
I'm sorry.
What if the bow tie spun around and
they're not going to eat that, and that's not going to give meaning to their life.
And using the example of Denmark, which is a small, oil-rich nation.
No, we don't have oil. No, there's no way.
Okay, but it's a small, it's a small Scandinavian.
It's still a very small and idiosyncratic country.
It's a small country with a low population and a high GDP. We're not talking about places where, sort of in the States, there's a big sort of mass of people that are doing these low-pay jobs, and shifting an economy of that size doesn't happen quickly. It doesn't happen as quickly as the technology that economy is producing. I mean,
technology moves much faster than our policy certainly does, and our laws do. And that's a fundamental problem that we don't really have a solution for, because changing the way that we change policy and laws is also a very slow process. So
thank you. That's one to write down. Technology moves much faster than our politics can, or the people can. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't want to close that down. I just wanted to note that remark.
You end in a low. Why do you end in a low?
Because I'm English.
Yes. And let's say here in Hungary, they are all in a low. And we have to tell them that there is no need to be in a low, because let's say that, would you give in, let's say, all your technologies because of, let's say, all the side effects, and you consider, let's say, that life would be better? Please, hands. Or do you think it's better, let's say, with the ability to have the technologies? Hands, please.
So, I mean,
it is about, let's say, yes, everything has side effects. So, even life has a side effect. You can die. Yeah.
so I mean, I think we all basically agree, but for the sake of an interesting conversation.
So we have, yeah, but it is not contributing, because I agree that, let's say, our minds, some minds are, let's say, pretty slow in picking up, let's say, the good things about the technologies. But we have to see it as a disease. They're depressed, let's say, let's help them to adopt, let's say, the technologies in the way, let's say, it is additive to their lives.
Oh, I think everyone agrees that in the long run, this is all wonderful. It's the medium
Okay,
term.
say
It's
it.
5 or 10 years from
Yes.
now that concerns me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's providing just a counterpoint to your boundless enthusiasm. I mean, we all agree. I mean, I started a technology company. We write about technology. We all think that it is that drives us forward. I mean,
Okay,
it's
but
our
then
discoveries,
I
it's our
completely-
human.
Let me
so
give you
human
a
as-
private
human
advice.
aspect.
You are an entrepreneur, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, you want to make business.
Yes.
Okay, if you start, let's say, you have a potential consumer, and you say, yeah, this thing, let's say, it's doing this and this and that. Okay, it has side effects. Oh yeah, there is also a benefit. Or are you going to make profit if you make, let's say, the story, okay, you can do this and this and this and this and this with it.
Right, but
Yeah,
we're,
and
but
what
we're-
happens
but
there
we're
is
not
a
here to
side
sell
effect.
technology.
The point
We're
of a panel discussion
And
is
by
to have
the
a
way,
discussion
telling
about
people they're
different
stupid is not a great sales tactic.
I didn't say that, let's say, you're stupid. I
I didn't say you said I was stupid. I said you said everybody who isn't crazy about technology is stupid.
But I think coming back to David's interesting point at the beginning about verses, it's about the improved life, which is this marriage of the human and the technology, and waking up to what's really possible. But you know, the old photographs of the dark rooms and chemicals, analog, vinyl. Some people still want to listen to records. They like. Sorry for the younger members of the audience. When we had records, the stylus got to the middle, and that was the end of side one. Then you had to turn it over, dust it again, and put the stylus back down for side two. And track one, side two, is a very important phenomenon in pop music. So, and my younger daughter, a bit younger than yours, has got a Polaroid. She wants to take analog pictures as well as her digital
I'm
pictures.
still playing vinyl.
Quite.
Because the quality is still better than,
Yes,
let's say,
the warmth.
Yes,
the warmth of the sound.
But
So
that is an argument of quality.
Okay.
And I'm still, let's say, it's me to decide, let's say, with electronics, I have contact with my daughters because that is far better than a postcard.
Yes.
And let's say the vinyl I prefer because that it fits far better, let's say, with, let's say, my ambition, because I want to listen to nice music.
You took your records from the Netherlands, from Leiden to Copenhagen.
And you need a cleaning machine. It's called an okkie-nokkie. So you clean them, and let's say all the old vinyl records, let's say they sound fabulous. Yeah.
And it's the experience, surely. It's not just the quality. The quality is a very sort of, digital way of thinking about it almost. It's also the experience of flipping it over and the first thing. I mean, experience is what it's about, as you said. It's about human experience. So, don't just reduce it to the quality. It's the experience that counts.
Now let's test the vitality and humanity of our audience, because I think we've got perhaps 10 minutes.
2 seconds.
10 minutes. No. That's us.
Oh,
okay. What you don't know is there's a clock here, like in the football or something, counting down. We're into extra time now. They hold up the sign. 10 minutes. Oh, I saw that wonderful poster, by the way, near Doppel of the Hungary 6, England 3 from 1953. Perhaps that will be the final in a few weeks' time, 6-3 to Hungary. Anyway, if you raise your hand up, straight up, and wave it, I might be able to see, and we might even get a microphone to you. But have you got any thoughts or challenges? There's a...
Yeah.
Yes,
in the
2
middle.
there.
Yeah, good.
Please, yes, shout it out. Yes. Mike is coming. Sorry to stop you. Press pause, as we say. Sorry. Start again. We can all hear you. Thank you.
Okay, so do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so not all of you are from Europe, but probably most of you have seen the Eurovision Song Contest, and there was a performance where 3 manufacturing robotic arms were dancing along with human beings. And most probably I do think that those techie guys who we are here are impressed with that perfection what a robot can produce. But do you also accept to lose those imperfections in art on the table against robots, what we do perform as human beings or living beings?
Huh. I really like that question because I am very fond of the imperfections in art, and anything that does anything perfectly does lose a certain human appeal. Fortunately, machine learning is full of flaws and imperfections. And any conventional neural network is going to be mistrained to some extent, or come up with some surprising, unexpected pattern recognition at some point. So I think we're still going to have a sort of blurry, fuzzy future to that extent.
And I think also that mistakes sort of are one of the aspects of creativity. So you'll see
mutations.
It's mutations. I mean, we're talking about dance. If you see break dancers, they try something out, it doesn't work, and they've got to style it out. That's the important thing. And then they do some amazing things because they've basically fallen over. It's the way they fall that makes the performance. So yeah, mistakes are important both for humanity and also for coming up with new moves.
Yeah.
Right.
Here at the front, yes, please. If you can wait, just it's an obstacle.
The beanbag chairs are great, but it's a bit hard to get the microphone to people. Throw it.
Well, we won't hear you. No, we won't hear you.
Maybe if she shouts and you repeat the question.
Oh,
Pass it.
Here it comes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my question is this. You said that robots will take our jobs, and so will self-driving cars take our jobs. So would a solution be to give everybody a flat monthly wage? Because I think that's what's discussed in the Netherlands.
Thank you.
I think I would be very interested in your views. Thank you.
This is the universal basic income, or it's an emerging idea. It's suddenly become very current. No doubt, partly in response to this technology. John, say something.
Yeah, I've been writing about that for some time now, and there are experiments going on as we speak. Y Combinator, the infamous startup hub, is launching one in Oakland, America, and Give Directly, my favorite charity, is launching a similar one in either I believe it's Kenya, possibly Uganda, both later this year. So people are taking this very seriously and experimenting and commencing work on how best that can be done. And I'm personally a proponent.
I'm gonna be the grouch again. There was a very good piece by John Kay, who's an economist who writes for the Financial Times, and he shows how the math doesn't work. And I looked at basically all of the peer-reviewed, randomized, controlled trial studies that were done in this showed that you had a lower propensity to work. But there's a basic political economy problem, which is that you're asking people to work harder and pay more taxes so that other people don't work. And in terms of basic fairness, those people are going to demand strings.
Well, once again, we need the Danish solution, which is a higher tax but higher benefits, higher welfare society. That is highly competitive. It seems to work.
And we are closing, because we have, let's say, working hours in Denmark, let's say that, and here you see the point, we are closer to, let's say, the zero. You are now, to me, let's say it's over-optimistic that we can reduce the working hours, even in Denmark, to zero, because we still, let's say, need a real economy. But let's say we are already in the way, because let's say retirement and sick leave and pregnancy leave are things like that. And these are exceptional circumstances. And the fact that even, let's say, the Danes have to work, let's say, 36 hours a week, they're complaining that they want to work less, but it's just not possible. So let's say all the fear that, let's say, all the robots are making everybody, let's say, without any job, or that's a type of scenario, there still is need of a real economy. But let's say that definitely it's more likely that the working hours is going to shrink. Yes, and let's accept it. What's wrong with that?
And
Pascal.
One thing I'll say about the basic income is that all of the good studies are very old or idiosyncratic, so we definitely need better new studies. Correct. So I'm not against experimenting, but I'm very pessimistic. I am optimistic about some things, by the way, I should say, as a personal.
You'll see that life satisfaction of the French is...
No, it's not about being French, it's about being a writer. I'm a natural contrarian.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This afternoon
There's
I'll
huge
be on a
variation within
panel where
country,
everybody
yes.
hates technology and it'll be like, technology's great.
C'est l'ennui. C'est l'ennui. Thank you. That was a great question. And perhaps one more in the middle here. Yes. Do you have a microphone? Yes.
It's on.
Yes.
Oh, good. So so far there were many things said on the economic results of technology or the effects on economics, and I was missing one part, which is the social effects, because I see if we are talking about different things what to be concerned about, one of the greatest things what I see is the social effect on human relationships, because technology can also, of course, help human relationships, so you can talk with your daughter who's back at home and being here, and it's easy. But in the other side, the technology can really bring in people to live out social life, relationships in a distorted manner in many ways. So there can be very false impression of intimacy, false impression of friendships. And I think if I could see something which is most to worry about is this part, because if technology helps economy, which could result losing jobs, I think this is where human creativity kicks in. And many times when technology changes economics, human creativity adapts to the situation. But where I see great danger, where human creativity actually is somehow distorted, is this part of social life. And talking about, I know it's a cliche, but talking about Facebook, it can replace healthy human contact and relationships, how many hours and what way people try to relate to other people who they are not even friends with, but they thought they see their lives. So what do you think about that?
If only my life was as good as I pretended is on Facebook. Please, human relationships.
I would dispute that. I have been online for a long time, and I have a lot of close personal friends who I met online, and I only interacted with online for years, or decades even, and who I now sort of see in the flesh on a regular basis, and we've become extremely close friends. I think human connections made through the internet are as valid as human connections made through any other medium. I do agree that Facebook does have a sort of a filter bubble effect where you only interact with people who reinforce your own worldviews, and that this causes polarization and people to think that anyone who disagrees with them is wrong and evil. But I don't think there's anything, intrinsically wrong with human connections and human communication occurring at, online or on Facebook.
I also think that the sort of the technology in terms of online communication is maturing, and we're having to learn a whole new set of kind of etiquette. Like we learn growing up how to interact with people face to face, and we're having to learn now how we should interact online. It might become incredibly rude at some point that you only put on holiday snaps, and everyone's just like, that's ridiculous. You can't only put those online. We don't. It's something that we're having to adapt to as it's coming along. And at the moment, everyone knows that Facebook is not the real life of the person. It's their specially curated life. But it's fine because you know that. And I think the most damaging thing with websites like that is actually the way that they play with our psychology in terms of like reward mechanisms, and the infinite scroll is known to be addictive, basically. And that kind of thing is
scrolling forever.
Yeah, if you have the infinite scroll and you're going, that's boring, that's boring, that's boring. You keep going because eventually something will come up and it's random.
Yeah, you know how that
Pascal.
feels like.
But
I just want to say that's one of the things where I'm an optimist. I completely agree with what you just said. It's I've made tons of friends online. But there's also an important point about technology and discernment. I think the situation is more complicated when you're talking about romantic relationships, for example, because, and that's
They're
a good
dangerous.
example.
We heard that sex can kill you.
Really? That's a good example of when technology is not technology, because Tinder is not the same thing as eHarmony. And so I know a lot of people who met their wives and who met true love through the internet, but I also know people who went through some very bad experiences because of the internet. And so it's a good example of where just saying technology doesn't actually give you any answers, because the question is what type of technology, what does it do, and so on and so forth. But in principle, I think the internet is great for social life.
And it's this etiquette thing.
Yeah. Perhaps we have to learn and to realize that all the technologies, they are new for us. And I like your phrasing that, let's say, you have to learn how to use them, and we have to develop the etiquette. Let's say, there is something, let's say, you need to go for driver's lessons before driving a car, something like that, isn't it? Let's say, because it felt too dangerous. And that's not the reason why we want to get rid of the cars. Cars have side effects, yes. You have to learn to drive, and yes, and the technologies. The good thing about this, we have more time to learn than ever before.
So good. Last thought, or shall we end? I thought we could end on a positive note.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that.
Thank you. More time to learn than ever before. And thank you for helping us with our conversation. Please do thank Rudi and Pascal and Jon and Jack. Thank you very much.